They say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet, gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen, in Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Hello and welcome to the Farmer's Kitchen. We're the farmers, this is our kitchen, and Nicki's starving.
I am starving.
Because by the time that we get here and get everything set up, we're hungry.
You've been planning all day, so I've been waiting. I've been saving up.
You know what, for this show, we're very careful. We practice. You know, you're not supposed to talk about the secrets of doing a TV show, but we want to make sure that what we do is the best for you. So we experiment and we play and we fix things and we make them again to see if it can get any better. And you know, I think this meal right here is going to be spectacular.
I do too. I know it is.
The other day, here's what led us to this. The other day, we got some fast food, and I'm not going to name the place. And I ordered a couple sandwiches, and you ordered a sandwich,
right,
and some fries, so on and so forth. And we got the bill, it was almost $30.
I know.
And I said, off the cuff, I think we could do prime rib for that.
Yeah.
So guess what happens? Every now and then you go to one of your favorite stores,
I do.
or if you raise cattle, or if you know someone that has a nice cut of beef somewhere, you can find a standing rib roast for how much?
$7.99 a pound.
That's the cheapest that we found it lately. And when that happens,
we have
a freezer.
We buy up.
We do buy up. So tonight, we're gonna show you how you can eat like a king. I mean, at a restaurant, this would probably cost you, at a good restaurant, $90, maybe more, for less than what two people could go out and eat fast food for today.
That's right.
So Mrs. Farmer is the bread meister. She makes wonderful bread. So we're going to start with the bread because we got to get that going, and it's a process. But this is just a loaf we have sitting here, and we did another one which we have
already
eaten without the sesame seeds. But we tried one with sesame seeds because that adds just a little taste.
Yeah.
But long story short, I'm going to let you get started on this, and then we're going to go get the meat ready.
All right, and I love this bread because I'm not going to get my hands dirty. You don't have to knead it, and it's 4 ingredients. That is it. I think it's amazing bread.
You know, this looks like an artisan bread that you pay a lot of money for. You can do this in your own kitchen. And this particular recipe, she's been messing around and messing around and messing around to figure out how she can do less kneading, less of a process, less ingredients, and still come up with a nice bread. And she's got it down.
I'm excited. Well, what I have in here, bread flour. Always bread flour because the proteins you want for the gluten, it gives you more gluten and it makes the bread lighter and fluffier.
And it gives you those holes.
Yeah, the holes in the bread.
You have that artisan look bread. It almost looks like sourdough.
It does.
But it's not. So here's your cheating recipe where you can do a bread. Now, it's not gluten friendly, so this is not a gluten friendly recipe, but more gluten is more elasticity.
That's right.
The bread is softer, tastes better, and it has that beautiful look.
And you could do regular flour, you could do any other kind of flour. It just would be, I don't think the bread would be as fluffy. It's going to be a little tighter, but it would still be delicious, I'm sure.
You want your bread fluffy.
That's right. Now, regular yeast, I would have to boil water or get the water hot and mix it up for the flour. Where this, if it's the rapid rise, pour it right in the flour.
Boom.
So it makes it quicker. I'm making this easy and quick. 2 teaspoons of kosher salt.
Kosher salt.
Always kosher. That's that. We're gonna mix this up. And now I'm gonna go to the faucet and just get warm water. I don't want it boiling hot, but hot enough that you'd like to take a bath in it. Does that make sense? And I'm gonna get 1 3/4 cups.
All right, something we talked about earlier. You're going for a specific look and feel. Now, bread is really something that you have to watch. It's a science. So you're going for a particular look to the dough, and sometimes depending on the humidity in or out. Now, I know it sounds complicated.
And each time I've made it, I've had to add a little water, a little flour, and you can switch it up. But I always start with 1 3/4. Okay. And I'm not going to pour it all in because sometimes, depending on the humidity, we want this to be kind of like gooey, almost like gooey glue, but not cake. I'll show you. Yeah, kind of like that in the middle. But see, we're going to need more water, and I might need all this. And the 3 cups of flour, I use the whole 1 3/4 of warm water. All right, I'm gonna need a little more water. See how this is still kind of dry? I'm gonna get another 1/4 of water. You can't ruin this recipe as long as the dough looks kind of gooey. I'll show you when we are done with it here. That's what's gonna make it rise.
I think gooey is a technical scientific term.
Is it? Give me a little more, just a pinch. Yeah, I want it. You don't, so we're not gonna knead it. You don't wanna, it's like you want it so you can't touch it. It's kind of, there we go. I think that's gonna be good. All right, now see what I have here? See how it's just like, you would never pour that out and play with it. Can you imagine it'd be all over your hands?
So it's right to the point where, like you said, gooey.
Yeah, it's gooey. Okay, now a piece of plastic wrap. That's all we need.
Can I refrigerate it for later?
Yes. And actually, a lot of people, what you want it to, we want to let it rise. And sometimes it depends on if your house is warm, it could rise in an hour. It seems like about 1.5 hours to 2 hours has been good for me. And you'll see it's going to grow.
So once you let it rise, you
right.
can put it in the
You
refrigerator.
can put it in the fridge for up to 3 days. And a lot of people make this in the morning and let it rise, set it in the fridge, pull it out an hour before they want to cook it. Then you have fresh bread at night.
Some people like to put it in a refrigerator because it slows that yeast working down and you maintain those flavors in there.
You get more flavors. So this is good. We're just going to set this aside now for a couple hours and watch it rise.
All right. Okay, now again, this is not your typical bread recipe.
No.
This is not one you're going to handle a lot. You're not going to have it under your fingernails for 3 days. So here's what it looks like.
And see how it's jello-y? Let me open it. And this is doubled in size. This actually sat for about 2 hours. And like I said, if it was a summer day and you put it kind of by your window, I bet you'd have it in an hour. So, and you want it like this because I'm going to pour it. Interesting. Now I have one of these, a scraper, or we can use a spatula.
You can use a square spatula like you would
anything.
Work your stove with.
Now I have a little more of the bread flour here. I'm going to put this down. And I don't even have to touch this. You know me though, I always touch everything. I'm going to try not to touch it.
I want to make sure I'm understanding this. You don't really need this.
Not at all.
Okay.
We never need it.
I like the sound of that.
All right. And now I'm going to sprinkle a little more flour on top. And this is where we'll do the fold-overs. And I use a spatula. So you could also, the spatula I had, if you don't want to have to buy one of these, but look how nice this is. So we're not really kneading it. We're just forming it into like a ball.
So there's a little bit of kneading, but not your traditional,
really.
Got your hands up to your elbows and bread dough.
And that's about it. Now, parchment paper.
Okay.
I have that ready. Try to just flip this right over in here. We can reshape it if it doesn't do good, but and being it so
Look at that.
being it so like the way it is, this just shape it into a circle.
All right, everybody knows that we love our cast iron, and we use enameled cast iron a lot.
That's right.
That is the perfect situation for this particular recipe.
Yes, it is.
Enameled or regular cast iron, a Dutch oven. Why is that? Because bread, if you talk to a lot of chefs, they like to use a steam oven.
Exactly.
In a situation where your pan is preheated to 450.
Right. And we've been doing that for half an hour. It's 450.
Yes. So you've already getting the situation up to temperature,
Right.
450 degrees. So now we're going to take this and drop into this hot, preheated cast iron enameled pan, and therefore when you put the top on it, the steaming process begins. Therefore, more moist bread.
We got a bakery. And this is going to go for 30 minutes. Then we're going to take the lid off for another 12, and we'll have bread. Now, if you don't have one of these pans, you know what a lot of people do, you could put it on a flat pan because you're not worried about the shape. It's already circular, and we could put water underneath it and shut it, but you wouldn't, then you'd leave it for 40 minutes.
All right, so we talked about Mr. Ribeye here, standing rib roast. A lot of times if you ask for a standing rib roast, the price is less than if you bought a ribeye per se.
All right, and tell them what you did. You cut that in half, so we have 2.
So let's think about this. So remember, we said $7.99. Sometimes if you find them a day or two, they go on sale even less than that.
They do.
So let's figure this one at about $7.50 per pound. Okay, this is 3 pounds. We cut it, measured it, weighed it. There's a reason we have to do that because of the time it takes to cook.
Right.
Now, we're going to try today to show you how to do this in an oven where there's no searing involved. We're going to get a sear on this with just the oven. Now, the most important thing is the au jus.
That's right.
Now, the French au jus means with juice, basically. But what we're doing today is an au jus that I know Raul would be happy with.
I tasted it. It's good.
Yes. So everything that we think about this, let's talk about the science of this. Okay, this thing's going to go in the oven. Now, here's the rule for this, and this works every time without fail. If you want to put a meat thermometer in there and make sure you get it just where you want it, we want it on the rare side. So what I'm going to do with this piece of meat, basically, is put it at almost 500 degrees. I put it at 490. This is just me.
Okay.
This is the way that we do it a lot. So I'm gonna put this in at 490. So what does that do? That gets us that sear, and we'll try to get some shots through that oven. This fat starts to kind of scrunch up, and it will, as that sears, that fat starts to instantly draw up,
Yummy.
and those juices, that au jus, will end up with whatever you put in there. The star of this show, we made the bread just for the au jus, and the potatoes just for the au jus.
That's right.
And the meat is just going to be dipped into the au jus.
That's all we want, au jus.
So what are we going to do? First of all, we're going to set this out and let it get room temperature. A couple hours. Make sure it's room temperature. You don't want to have to put that in the oven and it not be the temperature you
Exactly.
want. Make sure room temperature first. When you get a French dip, what do you get with it?
Au jus.
Or jus.
Yes,
Either one.
jus,
A lot of times
okay.
the Americans call it jus. A lot of times that's processed without the meat that you're even eating on the sandwich.
And it's not as good.
And you can tell it's
Yeah.
processed. You can tell that they've used dried onions and
Right.
so on and so forth. When you use fresh ingredients,
Delish.
it's magic. Everything that I put on this is going to end up in here.
In the juice.
And that's my thought process. When that fat starts to render out and it goes into here, I want it to have certain tastes
Yummy.
that go along with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little Worcestershire here. Worcestershire. I'm going to mix that in some Dijon. Now one thing, as we have traveled the world and tried different recipes, different places, the best prime rib that I ever got was really heavy. And you think rosemary, and we have some rosemary, but it's thyme.
Oh yeah.
Some really good thyme. So what else do I want to do with that?
Thyme.
I'm going to put some ground thyme because the end product, again, is the au jus. So Worcestershire sauce, as the English say.
Worcestershire.
Dijon, ground thyme. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to lightly brush it. Now what I have found is over time, is I have experimented and watched, later I'm going to put butter on top of this with horseradish.
Oh, that won't be good, huh?
So as the butter almost immediately melts, and Raoul, my French chef buddy, something that I noticed, he puts butter in almost everything. The butter will immediately melt off, but this layer of the Dijon, which I'm using to hold the salt and the pepper, it kind of stays there.
It smells
The
good.
butter, oh, doesn't it though?
It always smells
I mean,
good.
okay, for my au jus, I want to have some Dijon in there. So there's where we get started. Now you want some quality salt and quality pepper. So we're gonna liberally put some pepper on there. Now that will really make that hold on to that. I'm pretty liberal with the salt
Yes, you
and the pepper, but I want that flavor in there. And again, that's helping flavor our au jus. Now some people might say, well, you're adding a lot of flavors. Well, the depth of flavor in this, when everything is together, we sat down last night experimenting.
We did.
And it was just, we almost couldn't stop eating.
I ate it like soup.
And again, cheaper than going
Yes, it
to a
is.
fast food restaurant. All right, so now we're gonna take horseradish. I'm gonna mix up,
Room temperature butter.
yep, in that butter. So that's about 1/3 of a stick. Now one more thing that I'm gonna do here, I'm that in love with that thyme flavor in my prime rib. I'm gonna put
I'll
that
blame you.
in there. I'm gonna see if I can get that on there, that brush, see if it's melted off. Now what's gonna happen when that butter gets in that hot oven, which just told me it's almost to the right temperature, that's gonna almost immediately melt off. But it's gonna go down the sides of that meat, and enough is gonna stay, on there, so that taste is in that meat,
Gee,
and more importantly, it's in the au jus.
I love it.
And if you would like to know where the prime rib comes from, let's take a look real quick here. Just a few years ago, one of our more popular segments, I'm going to show you where that comes from.
Yeah, this is kind of the prized portion of the beef here. We have the short ribs, and then we have the prime rib. We can cut it into rib eyes. We can do bone-in rib roasts, tomahawk steaks, whatever you want.
Just put that in my truck.
We'll carry it on out for you. So when we look at the rib section here, we have the rib eye, which you can see the eye of the rib eye there. And this would be, we'll remove the chine, and we'll make this a boneless rib eye, and we'll cut it into steaks. Well, we have their prime rib here. So Mark has removed the chine bone off of the rib eye here, and he's gonna take the bones out, take the back ribs out, we're going to make this into a boneless roast. Again, you see the seams that he's pulling off there. So we got the nice fat cap on the back of the ribeye here. Now he's going to remove the tendon and the back ribs. So now we're left with just the tendon left in the ribeye there, which he's removing. And we got our back ribs ready for the grill. So we're ready to cut it into 1-inch steaks now.
I'm impressed.
So if we'd lay these out, you get some beautiful ribeyes. It's really some pretty steaks.
Beautiful.
So now, as this sits here and looks beautiful, we're going to come in and we're going to do just enough to raise to this rack. So this is, let's see how much is in here. This is beef broth.
Yummy.
It's probably 1.5 cups and a quality red wine, one that you would drink. Remember that if you're going to use, and that is just about
perfect.
there. So, what are we going to add to this for flavor? Well, even more thyme and some fresh rosemary. So we're going to take some butcher's twine and we're going to tie this together. Now I am so happy and infatuated with my au jus that when we get this done, we've added our bouquet garni.
Okay.
This, when it sets in that oven at 490 degrees, the first 15 minutes, this begins to boil. All those flavors are going to be imparted into that au jus. One more thing that we need is a shallot. This is important. You can use garlic if you like, but I really like a shallot in this. And I think Raul would back me up on this. We're going to cut very thin slices so all that flavor can seep out into this. We're going to take these thinly cut pieces of shallot, and I cannot stress how important it is for that beautiful shallot to be in there. So we have our red wine, we have our beef broth, we have our thyme and rosemary, we have our shallot, and I'm going to add, for just a little flavor and depth and a little more salt. Again, this is going to boil and this is going to cook down together. It's just a little beef bouillon.
Yummy.
We're going to put probably, I don't know, 1/2 tablespoon.
That's it.
Then I'm going to put just a little more Worcester sauce in there.
Yummy.
And then, a la Raul, currant jelly.
Gotta
What
have
does that
currant
do?
jelly.
It's not real sweet, but it adds that special
Oh yeah.
thing. And I know Raul would put red currant jelly in his au jus. So now, as our oven is preheating, I'm going to take this beautiful 3-pound prime rib.
Wow.
Now let's think about this. Fast food joint, $32.74.
That's right.
This is
$22?
$22.50.
That's a deal.
This would probably feed 3 people.
It would.
But you and I are going to put
Actually, this will
damage
feed
on us.
you. I'll have a bite with
I
you.
can eat a lot
I
of
know
this.
you could eat this.
So look how beautiful that looks.
That is.
Remember this. Now, depending on how you like your steak or your prime rib, we like ours rare. So at the rare rate, we're going to come down after the 15 minutes at 490. We're going to come down, and you can do 325 or you can do 300. Put you a meat thermometer in for your temperature if you want
Right.
it to be particular. But if you like it close to the rare, let's go 11 minutes per pound.
Okay.
So after that initial 15 minutes, when everything starts to brown up, we turn the oven down to 325, and then we let that go for about 33 minutes.
And we're good.
When you take it out, you wrap it in aluminum foil, you let it rest for about 10-15 minutes, and then
We eat
watch
dinner.
what we've got. When that happens, then we will take our au jus out, and we will take that and we'll do a little sifting. And I like to thicken mine up just a little bit.
You do. It makes it good.
I'm so excited. And we had this last night,
We did.
practicing for
We
you
did.
guys. Now, the next question you're going to probably ask, is that uncovered or open?
Is it uncovered? or
Bread's
open? Sorry.
closed. This is open. We want
right.
that heat on top. We want to watch that butter melt. We want to watch that top brown up. So doing it this way, you don't have to sear anything.
Right.
It's a natural process. All the juices go into the pan for the au jus. Everything's done in the pan. That butter's going to start to melt. We got 15 minutes, top open.
The bread is ready. We got to take the lid off. I'm going to bring it out and show it to you.
So this is the first round.
So this has been with the lid.
Oh,
Beautiful.
would you look at that?
Isn't that nice? So now 12 more minutes open, and we'll
Can you
have
see
perfect.
that? Is that not beautiful?
Ooh.
Now it goes back in,
12
lid
more
open,
minutes.
12 minutes. We got both ovens thoroughly employed.
That's right.
Now, watch that top. Watch that butter just melt right on off. So your bread's ready.
Bread is ready. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Oh, if you could only smell this kitchen.
And what's nice about this, here's how we get our bread out. I'm gonna come over here. Ta-da! Get rid of this, and that just sits for 10 minutes.
All right, Nikki, look over your right shoulder. Look what's going on back there.
Wow.
Do you see that top working?
It looks amazing.
You see that searing underneath that heat, and you see that beautiful, wonderful fat rolling down the sides into the au jus.
I see it bubbling nicely.
All right, we got 1 more minute, and then we're going to turn it down to 325. Remember, it stays open the whole time. Bread is closed for the first
30 minutes,
and then off for 12.
12 minutes, and it's perfect.
Look at that.
And it does need to set at least 10 minutes. After that, we can cut away. We'll be good.
And what we're going to do, we're going to pull this out, and we're going to let it rest in some aluminum foil. Look at that.
Yum.
Oh, and the smell. Look at that. Look at that. Look
Beautiful.
at that. I'll tell you what we'll do real quick. Let's see, we've got a strainer in here, and we're just going to pour our juice off right in here. There's our lovely, beautiful au jus. And we don't want to waste any of that. And what happens too, if we have some of this left over, we freeze it. I found that if you use it within 6 months, it stays in pretty good shape. All right, now I've tasted that and it's where it needs to be. At this point, if you want to add anything, if you say, okay, we need a little pepper or whatever, you can add what you need.
Taste.
But if you do that, kind of like we did it, you're going to be in really good shape. At the very end here, just because it holds on the meat a little bit better, we're going to take a cornstarch and beef broth slurry, and we're just going to put in here and thicken that up just a little bit. Keep going. And that ought to do it. This becomes gravy-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Farmer would drink this.
I would. I like my gravy.
And she loves it on potatoes. And we're going to show you a little change up on your potatoes. And I'm going to go ahead and start this asparagus so everything comes together at once. And if you got nice fresh asparagus, we just saute it in a little bit of butter. You can do olive oil, but I like butter. Salt, pepper, garlic.
Yes, exactly.
If you have a seasoning that you like, that's fine. But I tell you what, you can't hardly beat just salt, pepper, and garlic for asparagus. You don't want to get it overdone. You don't want it to droop on you. You want it to still have just a little bit of integrity and maybe just a little crunch.
Yeah.
Okay, now look at our au jus.
Yum.
This to me really,
That looks good. Perfect.
that's just a beautiful thing. So now, this is a little trick. Even if you don't like horseradish, get you a more mild horseradish. You can't imagine what just a little bit of horseradish, butter, and sour cream can do to some mashed potatoes.
That's
when
right.
you're having them with this au jus, it's a magic thing.
All I did was regular mashed potatoes with butter. We're going to add, and as much as you want, I have a pretty hearty scoop of sour cream here, because we like our sour cream. And probably, maybe just a little over a tablespoon of horseradish.
So butter and sour cream and a little bit of horseradish, mild.
Yummy.
Oh my, did you already put the horseradish in there?
Yes, I did.
Look at that.
You try it?
Oh,
We try a little taste.
My. I'll tell you what, we're gonna do just a little bit of cleaning up. We're gonna open up this meat. We're gonna cut it, slice it, put it on the plate, and you're gonna see something beautiful here in just a moment. Hi, Ms. Farmer.
Wow.
Are you excited?
Can I do some dipping?
Yep. I do horseradish, then au jus.
Wow. That is amazing.
This is probably 2 nights of dinner. So $22, $23, maybe $24 if you include the flour and everything.
Bread was nothing.
Bread was nothing.
Potatoes nothing. So
We're gonna eat $11 per night if you split it up, as opposed to $30
eating like kings.
fast food. I'm just looking at it. We're gonna eat this in a minute, but first of all,
How about some bread?
no, I got bad news.
What?
Our half hour's up.
What?
Time is over.
Okay.
So that being said, if you see this show and you think, man, I'd like to try some of the recipes, I don't know what to do. What would you do?
I go to timfarmerscountrykitchen.com.
Well, there you go. And also, we have a Facebook page. It's extremely difficult to get on. How do you get on there?
You hit like.
So, Mrs. Farmer, I say, let's tell everybody goodbye, and then let's dig into this beautiful work of art,
Okay.
and then we'll see everybody again next week.
Can I have some bread?
Well, of course you can. But first, it's all about
Good times
good friends.
and really good eats.
We'll see you next week.
Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen is brought to you by Boone Contracting. Dream, design, build. We build your dreams. Lexington. Wilderness Road Hospitality, Stanford, Kentucky. Buck's Grill, cooking for the folks since 2008. Maysville, Kentucky. Ephraim McDowell Medical Center in Danville, Kentucky. Gulf Coast Connection, seafood straight from the Gulf to you.